When it comes to wardrobe changes, they tend to hold a little more meaning in the MCU than outside of it. Getting a snazzy new outfit is more than just upgrading your look. In many cases, it means upgrading your superpowers. We've seen characters like Tony Stark and Rhodey don super-powered armor before, but something about these sleek new costumes from the Endgame trailer gave us pause. Just where did they come from, and where are they going to take our heroes? It seems like costumes haven't been a huge concern for Marvel Studios for the most part. During Iron Man 3, we saw Pepper Potts wearing a cute, quirky, nerdy shirt, and then years later, in Spider-Man Homecoming, we saw Peter Parker wearing the same shirt. Wow, Mr. Steal Your Girl Parker must have been really mad about Tony taking his Spider-Man suit away. But today, we're not talking about the regular old boring clothes our heroes wear when they're not fighting for justice. We're talking about some brand new super suits we spotted in the trailer for Avengers Endgame. When it comes to the design aesthetic of Tony Stark, he seems to believe that bigger is better, for the most part. His more powerful suits tend to be bigger and bulkier, like his Hulkbuster armor, but these suits look super sleek, streamlined, and unlike Tony's more metallic creations. Another unusual aspect of these suits is that almost everyone is wearing one. Although they may risk their lives to save the world together, we haven't seen our heroes look quite so coordinated before. And it seems like the last thing they're probably worried about right now is branding the Avengers, nor what's left of them. Instead, the fact that nearly everyone is wearing these suits points to them having some sort of unique function that everyone needs to take advantage of. Where did these suits come from? Well, let's look at our sources of cool high-tech gear in the MCU. With Shuri possibly gone and her people likely reeling from the loss of T'Challa, we doubt they would come from the advanced African nation of Wakanda. They do bear a striking resemblance to the supersuits created by Hank Pym, but as we all know, he was one of the many victims of the decimation along with Janet and Hope Van Dyne. Sure, Scott Lang is still around, but he also accused Hank and Hope of just sticking the word quantum in front of everything in an effort to explain their science. It seems pretty unlikely he engineered these supersuits on his own. He'd probably be better off sticking to close-up magic tricks. But that doesn't mean Scott couldn't have pointed some more scientifically inclined minds in the right direction. Bruce Banner has been around since the end of Infinity War, and the latest Endgame trailer makes it look like Tony Stark will be back sooner than we thought. Scott would know how to access Hank's research materials and resources and could have easily helped Tony and Bruce find them. One of the prevalent theories surrounding Avengers Endgame has been that our heroes will end up passing through the quantum realm at some point in time. Whether it's to utilize the time vortexes Janet Van Dyne warned Scott Lang about in Ant-Man and the Wasp, or for some other reason. But as we all know, one does not simply walk into the quantum realm. Not only is getting in pretty tricky since it involves going subatomic, but getting out is pretty darn difficult too. Just ask Janet Van Dyne, who was trapped in there for years. Once she got out, she got to hear her husband congratulate himself for totally knowing she was alive this whole time. Yeah, alright, sure, Hank. At first glance, these new suits look similar to the design in Scott's Ant-Man suit, but upon closer inspection, they're actually nearly identical. The detailing on the suits match extraordinarily well, which leads us to believe that the suits have similar functions. This certainly looks like confirmation that these suits were designed to traverse the quantum realm. Although the trailer can be considered confirmation of these suits, it's not the first time we've actually seen them. When this Funko Pop figurine of Iron Man was released, fans noticed he's wearing a suit we hadn't seen on him before. It looks like the suit he's wearing in the Endgame trailer, but there's only one detail you can see on the toy. On Tony's wrist, there's some sort of strange device which looks almost like a watch. We've also seen heroes like Captain America and Ant-Man wearing similar devices in photos taken on the set of Avengers Endgame. It looks like they might be an important part of the new suits, but what do they mean? They're not part of Scott Lang's traditional Ant-Man costume, so it seems unlikely they have anything to do with traveling through the quantum realm. Instead, it could have something to do with the reasons our heroes are traveling through the quantum realm in the first place. So, a popular theory is that our heroes will travel through the realm in order to travel through time. Going back in time would give them the opportunity to get to the Infinity Stones before Thanos does. Some people believe our heroes are going to snatch them up before Thanos has a chance to, while others believe they're only going to make copies of them. Apparently, the only way to fight the tremendous power of the Infinity Stones is with more Infinity Stones, so what could go wrong there, right? Whether our heroes are going after originals or copies, they're going to need some way to transport the stones. We've seen what happens when people try to grab the Infinity Stones with their bare hands, and it isn't pretty. These devices look as though they've been designed to hold a single Infinity Stone. Wielding all the Infinity Stones at once is no easy task. Even with his Infinity Gauntlet made of precious Asgardian Uru metal, Thanos still managed to injure himself by snapping his fingers and causing the decimation. If the stones can hurt someone like Thanos, imagine what they can do to a weak, squishy human being. Ugh. On second thought, you might be better off not imagining that. Another option is that these wrist accessories actually contain these fancy new suits. We've seen some amazing shrinking nanotechnology in the MCU before, so this wouldn't be totally unbelievable. Just think about how Tony gets his own Iron Man suit around with his arc reactor. This would allow our heroes to wear the suits they're most comfortable with that they've trained in during battles, and then they could switch to the other suits at a moment's notice. It could explain why the set photos we saw of Endgame feature our heroes in their traditional outfits and not the new ones. Maybe they only need to use the new ones while they're traveling and revert to their old suits for battle. It makes sense that in the fight for their lives, our heroes might not want to get used to an entirely new super suit. All signs point to these suits being used to enter into the quantum realm, but we're still left with one big question. If these suits were made just to travel through the quantum realm, why did Scott Lang wear one and not his standard suit? Did he really just want to coordinate with the rest of the group so badly, or did the suits designed by Hank Pym get a major upgrade? The quantum realm isn't the only place our heroes might need to traverse during Avengers Endgame. If they want to go up against Thanos, they're gonna have to travel through outer space, and as far as we know, most of their existing outfits simply haven't been designed to work under those conditions. Tony modified some of his own designs leading up to Infinity War, but now it looks like the whole team is getting an upgrade. To further bolster the theory that our heroes might be wearing these suits in space, let's take a look at who we don't see wearing one. Captain Marvel and Thor are both missing, and both have shown they can travel wherever they want and survive under extreme conditions. Thor is able to use Stormbreaker to summon the power of the Bifrost, which allows him to transport himself anywhere he wants. And we've seen Captain Marvel flying around in outer space just fine with only her existing suit. We also don't see Rocket Raccoon wearing one of these suits, and that could be because he doesn't get one or because he's too short to make it in the clip we saw during the trailer. Sorry, Rocket. But if we think back to the Super Bowl trailer, that's trailer number 2, we definitely saw Rocket walking along with everyone in what looks like the same scene. If Captain Marvel and Thor aren't with the rest of the heroes, well then where are they? For the majority of the characters left after Infinity War, fixing things on Earth is their top priority, and when you have Nebula, who just wants to take down Thanos more than anything else, and Rocket, who probably just wants to get his friends back. Unless something new, shiny, or prosthetic attracts his attention before then, that is. But Thor and Captain Marvel have very different sets of priorities. Even though the actual land where Asgard once stood was thoroughly destroyed, his people are still out there. Not only is Thor a hero, but he's still king of Asgard, and his citizens are his first responsibility. Sure, he showed up to help Earth before, but his priority is the Asgardians, and it's likely they're in considerable trouble. Being a king means having a busy schedule, so it looks like Thor had to skip this organized march. Plus, you haven't forgotten about Loki, have you? Yes, he was throttled by Thanos during Infinity War, but let's not count him out just yet. His brother Thor seems to think he was gone for good, but Loki's been known to play that trick on Thor before. You know, pretty much every time the two of them interact. We know their estranged sister Hela managed to somehow crawl her way out of the Asgardian world of Hell when Odin passed away in Thor Ragnarok, and the Endgame trailer did show an old scene of Odin and Thor interacting, indicating family may be an important part of Thor's journey in the movie. If Hela was able to burst out of Hell, who's to say Loki can't escape from wherever he ends up, be it Valhalla or Hell 2? If Thor has any inkling this might be a possibility, it's doubtful he'd remain on Earth instead of trying to find his brother. The two of them were just getting ready to patch things up when Thanos boarded their ship after all. And then there's Captain Marvel. If you haven't seen her standalone movie, be warned that a pretty mild and predictable spoiler is coming. At the end of the movie, Captain Marvel has her own mission which takes her all over the galaxy. It's an utterly selfless mission which involves helping out some other life forms in need, and it's been her focus for over 2 decades. Sure, she showed up when Fury paged her, but how much time is she willing to be able to even divert from her own mission? Let's not forget that Thanos didn't just get rid of half of the life on Earth, he wiped out half of all life in the entire universe. That means us humans aren't the only ones suffering, and people like Captain Marvel and Thor have plenty of non-Earth obligations to keep them busy. Taking down Thanos is going to require everything our heroes have, and it may end up taking them to places they've never been. After how poorly things went the last time our heroes were in outer space, we can't imagine they're in a hurry to head back, especially Tony Stark. Without his know-how and resources, it seems unlikely our existing heroes could manage to get the job done, let alone travel to the quantum realm or space. We can't wait to see where they end up going and how many of them manage to make it back to Earth safely. So what role do you think the snazzy new suits are going to play in Avengers Endgame, huh? Are they going to be used to traverse the quantum realm, space, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section and click on the subscribe button for more great videos from CBR. We'll see you next time.